Trickle Charger or battery tender? Do you know the difference? Welcome back to the channel. It's your main man, Booster Rails, and today I got a good one. We're going to talk about the difference between a trickle charger and a battery tender when it comes to your motorcycle. Now, as we all know, winter's coming around, and in those colder states that get extreme snow and ice, a lot of those riders are going to be putting their bikes up for the winter time because, you know, everybody doesn't have to ride in sub-zero weather and temperature, and it doesn't, you know, that doesn't determine what type of rider they are. Okay, some people just choose not to, and that's their preference. Just like, you know, we don't tell you when, or we don't shame you rather for not driving your pickup truck one day or your car on another day. You know, it's their prerogative. So for those that are going to be putting their bikes up for weeks on end, or months on end rather, you should know the difference between a trickle charger as well as a battery tender, okay? One does one thing, the other one does the other, and we're gonna dive into those details because one can actually damage your bike if it's not done the correct way. So first off, we are going to talk about a trickle charger. Now, trickle charger, so some people call it old school, you know what I mean? And I can understand why they call it old school, because that was essentially the first iteration of something to, you know, keep that battery going on your bike while it's stored. Now, a trickle charger, it supplies a low amount of current to that battery on a consistent basis. Okay, so with that trickle charger, you never want to set it and forget it. Okay, you got to understand you have to be the maintainer of that charge, because you have to monitor when that battery in that bike gets charged up. You must then disconnect the trickle charger because it's a constant flow of charge going to that battery. And what happens if you leave a trickle charger on that battery well past the point of it being charged back up? That battery has the potential to overheat and damage the battery, ruin the battery, and could possibly ruin your bike. So if you use a trickle charger, that's if, you know, you're gonna have eyes on it, you're gonna constantly monitor it, and when that battery gets back fully charged, then you can disconnect the trickle charger, okay? I haven't used a trickle charger since, I want to say, the early 2000s, because, you know, that was it back then. You know, they did have battery turners out, but not like they do now. So that trickle charger, you just have to, you know, keep your eyes on it. But nowadays, you have what they call a battery tender. Let me show you mine. All right, this is my battery tender, and it's made by Schumacher. Okay, I ordered this one. I believe I got it off of Amazon. I think it was Amazon this one came off of. Has a pretty cool little hook, so if you want to hang it on the wall while it's charging, you can do that. The good thing about this is that it'll tell you that it has a light for charging, and then once it's charged, okay, the thing about a battery tender, let me explain the battery tender. So a battery tender it can charge that battery, and then once it gets to a certain point, it recognizes that the battery is full. It'll cut off the charging on its own, and then it will go into a maintaining mode. Okay, so you will have another light on here. It'll be pulsing when it's in a maintaining mode. So when it's charging, it's just a solid color light. And then when it's pulsing, that means it's just maintaining the battery. And with the battery tender, if that battery drops below a certain voltage, it'll automatically kick on and start charging that battery back up to where it needs to be. So it's gonna maintain your battery at the same time. And there's also a light for if for some reason it's a bad connection, it will abort the charge so it doesn't do any more or do any damage to your bike or the battery. You know, some batteries can be too gone to try and recharge. You know, it just all depends. And there's actually another connection that I don't know where I put those ends at, but it's just all it is like the ends of your jumper cables, and it plugs into here, and the positive and negative terminal goes on to the actual bike. You know what? You know what? Scratch that. because, well, they do have that, but I also have these, it's another end that's always on the bike so I can just pull it out, and then those ends go onto the actual terminal and they connect in to this end right here. So I could just pull out the little pigtail from the bike and then just plug this in. So, but yeah, so this one, I've had it on a bike with a dead battery, and it, you know, I guess it wasn't too far gone. And I plugged this up, let it charge for like a day. And then the bike was able to start back up. Not either one of these, it was the previous 1000 that we had in here. But the battery tender is, if you're gonna be letting that bike sit for long periods of time, i.e., you know, months or whatever, over the winter, or you may be going on vacation or something for, you know, 3-4 weeks or whatever, and you wanna make sure that the battery doesn't die. Now, there'll be some people out there, oh, I let my bike sit for 2 months and my battery was fine. Okay, your anecdotal experience doesn't, you know, create the norm, okay, for everyone else. So if you've done that, good job, you know, good on you. But to make sure, we don't want anybody out here trying to go off of someone else's anecdotal experience and then they have a dead battery. So this is the new school, is what they call it, the battery tenders. This is the new thing, you know what I mean? And this works for lead batteries as well as the lithium ion batteries. So once you plug this into the wall, it'll ask you lead battery or lithium ion battery, and you just push a little button here, depending on if you got the lithium battery or you got the lead battery. So it'll be able to charge either one. But I tell people, just don't even waste your money on getting a trickle charger, okay? Because it's more you got to deal with. You got to consistently monitor it. Like I said, this is pretty cool because it can also jump the bike if need be. Like I said, this one was made by Schumacher. I'm not sure the exact model of this one, but you know, if you look it up online, you'll see this exact one. Actually, it's modeled, my apologies. This is the Schumacher battery tender model SP1297. So if you want this specific one, like say you have the capabilities of jumping your bike or doing the you know, battery maintaining over an extended storage time period. So if you didn't know the difference between a trickle charger and a battery tender, now you know they're not the same. Because like I said, if you leave that trickle charger on your bike and you set it and forget it, it's gonna overcharge your battery, and that battery's gonna, you know, overheat, and it's probably not gonna be good for you. So get you a battery tender, and it doesn't even have to be, like I said, for wintertime purposes. You know, some people, you know, go on extended vacations and stuff like that, or due to life and other things, they can't ride for a certain period of time. Get you a battery tender like this one right here, and you can't go wrong. There are other types of brands and models. As long as it can charge that battery, maintain that battery, has an auto on and off switch, and you know, I like the preference of being able to jump start the battery as well. You'll be fine with any of those. But trickle charger is the old school. Battery tender is essentially the new school, in my opinion. Okay, not your opinion, but my opinion. So just make sure that you get one that's gonna do the job for you. I love having this handy. I also keep a jump pack, a small jump pack about that big as well, you know, because, you know, that's something that you can have on the bike or have in your backpack at the same time. So when you go into these auto zones or those types of stores, make sure that you're not getting a trickle charger. Make sure that it's something that can maintain the battery, and it's not gonna overcharge your battery. So trickle charger, old school; battery tender, new school. This is what you want. Like I said, this one was made by Schumacher, model SP1297. So if you got something out of this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. If you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. It's up to you. You know, no pressure, nothing like that. And if you're out there riding, always ride safe. Keep the rubber side down, shiny side up. Peace.